We are ready to talk about directions for review and preview 4.2.3. The first question that we see is question number 70, and it tells you to start by drawing any quadrilateral. My suggestion, if I'm thinking forward about how we're going to use this, would be to draw a 2x4 rectangle. Your choice on if you orient it horizontally or vertically, but make it a 4x2 rectangle. And I have mine labeled here as my original. Now, for part A, it's asking me to enlarge or reduce it by the following ratio. If for part A, the ratio that they're giving me is 4:1, that means that 4/1 would equal 4. So for part A, I want my new figure to be 4 times as big. So when I draw my new rectangle, my side lengths that I label should be 4 times as big as what I have over here for my original. On part B, the ratio they give us is 7:2. If it's 7:2, you could also think of this as, since 2 goes into 7 3 times and there's 1 left over, I could also think of it as 3.5. So in other words, my values on my enlargement over here should be 3.5 times as big as what I have on my original. So I would take 3.5 times 2, 3.5 times 4, and that's going to tell me how to label my answer for part B. On question 71, they are asking you a question. For part A, it's asking you, is Helena correct? If so, explain how she can tell that the diagram represents 12/5, and if she's not correct, why not? So on your answer space for part A, that's what I'm looking to see. Is she correct, yes or no? And then tell me why that's the way you feel. Part B asks you to draw a diagram to represent the mixed number 3 2/3. Basically, if I'm supposed to show 3 2/3, I can do that here. If I shade all of this in, that would be 1. I shade all of this in, that would be 2. I shade all of this in, that would be 3. And then if I'm supposed to represent 2/3, obviously then I would have to shade in 2/3 of that last piece there. And then also for part B, don't forget, they're asking you, how can you represent 3 2/3 as a single fraction greater than 1? Which really means, what does it equal as an improper fraction? So to do that, if you don't remember, we can take the denominator times the whole number and then add the numerator to get the numerator part of my improper fraction, and then my denominator will just stay the same. Part C is kind of asking you this in a backwards way. It's giving you an improper fraction and asking you to change it to a mixed number. So with 7/4, I would say, how many times does 4 go into 7? That's my whole number. How much is left over? That's my numerator. And then my denominator will stay the same. And again, it also asks you to include a diagram. So you can either diagram what 7/4 looks like, or if it's easier for you, you could change it to a mixed number first, and then diagram what the mixed number would look like from there. On question 72, we've got some adding and subtracting. We see fractions and mixed numbers. So, like we hopefully know by now, I'm going to start by copying the problem correctly. I'm going to look to see your giant ones that you use to find your common denominators. Then make sure we are adding or subtracting the numerators. Make sure we're paying attention to which operation is where. And then my denominator will stay the same. And then before you're done, look to make sure, can my answer be simplified, or is it already in simplest form? For question 73, they show you a visual of a ruler, and there is also a visual of a ruler on your answer sheet. And they're giving you several different amounts that they're asking you to mark the location of on this giant ruler that we see. So make sure that when you mark them on the ruler, either show me a nice vertical line or a dot, something that I can see, and then up here above you would want to label whatever that amount happens to be. Down below on your answer sheet, there's a spot here where it says least to greatest. I want to see the list of them in order from least to greatest. Once you've got them all along here, that should be an easy task to do. Just make sure you don't forget to do that part. For question 74, we've got a situation. She's trying to measure the area of her bedroom floor. Should she use square inches or should she use square feet? I think it's safe to assume it's an actual bedroom, not a bedroom of a dollhouse or some small type of toy. Part A, to answer this, it does say write a sentence. So I'm looking to see a complete sentence. You could start off with, Cecilia should use blank because, whether you're saying square inches or square feet is your choice. Make that decision and then tell me why. For part B, they give you some dimensions and ask you to find the area. If it's rectangular like they're describing, all we would do is take the length times the width. So for part B, I'm looking to see your work and your answer along with the correct label. Be mindful in this situation here of where your decimal point belongs once you get your answer. Check to make sure you have it in the right spot. Then for part C, it's asking you to find the perimeter. So all the way around the outside. If we know the dimensions, all I would have to do is to add all 4 of those lengths together. Make sure when you're saying the perimeter is this much, make sure I also get a label. So labels on those answers for both B and C.